All right, first order of business is the approval of the minutes from November 3rd meeting. And once you have either looked at them or ready, I'll take a motion on this, please.
Motion to approve, Chairman.
I have a motion to approve.
Second.
And a second. Are there any comments or discussion on those minutes? Okay, seeing none, that is to Commissioner Allen.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
All right. We have no business involving gifts tonight, and I have nothing on the chairman's report. So with that, we'll get right into statements and remarks. We have 3 items on our agenda tonight. You've got an agenda that's 5, 6, and 7.
Can you smell cigarette smoke?
And so if anybody would like to make a comment or statement on those 3 agenda items, now's your moment. Thank you, Mr. Stewart.
Good evening, Commissioners. I'm Larry Stewart, 126 Cecil Stewart Road. I'd like to speak to y'all just a few minutes on item number 5, the reappointment of Janice Ellis to the Assessor Board. And let me state right up front that my following comments have nothing personally to do with Ms. Ellis. I do not personally know her. What I'm about to say is a reflection of her part in serving on the Assessor Board, and not a personal statement. First off, I'd like to ask the question I don't expect to answer, it's just a general question. Was anybody else considered for this position? Was it advertised? I thought it was the policy of the board that we were trying to get as many members of the community as we could on these boards to rotate, not just to have the same people over and over and over again. So that's one thing. And I also want to say, in full disclosure, that before I'm finished, that I have no interest in it. So if any of you think that this is some kind of an agenda on my part, it has not. It is not. I have been there, done that, not interested. Okay. Now, I'm concerned about the taxpayers of this county. I'm concerned about the, I'll call it atrocities, that have been put on the taxpayers of this county, basically through the assessments. And word on the street is there's going to be another reval this coming year. I don't know that. That's just rumor, okay? And these have all been rubber stamped and okay, turned a blind eye to, whatever, by the current Board of Assessors. Now, some of y'all will say, when you're questioned about the tax valuation situation in this county, the statement I've heard over and over is, well, I don't have anything to do with that. That's beyond my control. That's them. But this is the part of the evening where y'all do have control over that. And to say that to somebody later on, it just won't hold water. It's just not true. You had a reappointment a few months ago, or maybe it's been longer than that now. And now I feel sure that you are about to have another one. And I'm kind of just wasting my breath, but I feel compelled to say what I'm going to say. So I think that you're doing the taxpayers of this county a grave disservice by continuing down this road and not having a more activist member or members on this board that have the taxpayers' concerns at heart. I think it shows a lack of concern by this board for the people that put y'all in those seats. And there are people out there that are really hurting, and there seems to be no end to this situation. I think, personally, what I think and what I thought for many years is that it's going to end up one day in a class action, but that's down the road. Anyway, so I want to ask each of you, I feel sure it's a waste of time, but I want to ask each of you to vote to not approve this reappointment, go back to the public, try to find somebody else that has the public interest more at heart. And if you feel that you have to vote for this reappointment, I don't think y'all deserve to be in the seats y'all are in, and I think you should be ashamed. Thank you.
Is there anybody else that'd like to speak tonight? Anybody on those three items? All right, with that, we'll move on to item number 5. Item number 5 is to consider reappointment of Janice Ellis to the Board of Tax Assessors, and I have our Chief Appraiser, Robin Baker here. Robin, if you'd like to make a comment, or if you want to leave it as it's presented for the board to vote.
Yeah, I'd just leave it as it's presented. I mean, I'm just going to request that she be reappointed to the board.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to ask a question. If, I know a month or so ago, Ms. Ellis resigned. Did she give a reason why she wanted to resign?
I'm not aware of one that was presented, and there was a subsequent letter to reconsider that on her behalf.
Did she give a reason why she rescinded her resignation?
Did not that I'm aware of. I mean, it wasn't listed as part of the letter. It was a statement of her intent, and then her desire to rescind that.
And the questions I ask is, I have nothing personally against Miss Ellis. I really don't know her. But a lot of the statements that Larry made were very accurate and need to be attended to. It's something definitely wrong in our tax evaluations.
Well, the item before us tonight is to consider the reappointment, so if you want to make a motion in the affirmative or in opposition, feel free at this point, and we can enter into the discussion if you'd like.
Motion to approve.
I have a motion to approve the reappointment of Janice Ellis to the Board of Tax Assessors. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, and at that point now, we'll open it for discussion or comments. If any of the commissioners would like to add or suggest anything by the reappointment of Janice Ellis. All right, well, if there is none.
All right, well, I did. It's my understanding that she's always had a strong voice on the board. And you need strong voices, and it didn't always go along with some of the folks on the board, and you've got to have a strong backbone when you're on the board.
I don't think that she's done anything to be taken off the board.
Right, I don't think.
It warrants that.
Again, the motion and second are to reappoint. Is there any other discussion on this?
I don't think it's her fault. We've had to play catch up.
Yes. Okay. You ready to vote? Vote is this is to reappoint, the vote is to Commissioner Strickland.
Yes.
Yes.
No. Yes.
Item number 6, consider initiating the abandonment process for the end portions of Pine Tree Road and Double Branch Road. the commissioners, you have a map depicting the road that's in question. The mention of the end portions, these are the parcels of land or that section of the road that used to abut the bridge that crossed that river or that creek. And the bridge has been out for some 40 years. We have requests from property owners on both sides that own those parcels of land, that if the bridge is not to be put back into service, that they'd ask that their property be returned to them, as it's not serving any useful purpose. So the approximate distance of the road to the south is about 550 feet. And the portion on the northern side, to be truthful with you, I've got to get an accurate measurement, but both parcels of land on the north side are owned by Mark and Donna Perry, and they're asking for the same consideration from the north. And so we'll get an exact, the language and placement of that, but again, it's to allow the property where the road runs right now to be returned to those property owners, as the bridge is, to my knowledge, is never intended to be replaced. And nobody in talking with the residents that live on either road is in favor of having that bridge replaced. So I'd like to entertain a motion to at least initiate, which would permit the county attorney to draft the documents to the property owners, and we'll enter into a public notice period, at which we'll, at the termination, we'll have a public hearing, and then vote on the actual abandonment. But to initiate it, we'll need a vote from the board to do that.
So, I'll second that.
Is there any questions or comments on that? Does anybody have any reservation about that?
From the feedback I've had, as long as they've got a good turnaround, you know, we'll talk about that, so.
Right, which we need to address anyhow, because there is no current place to turn around on Pine Tree. They're turning around in people's driveways right now, so for those people that go down that road that don't live down the road. So, any other comment or question on item number 6? Seeing none, the motion is to consider initiating the abandonment process for those two portions of the road on Pine Tree and Double Branch. Commissioner Bettis?
Yes.
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 Okay. All right, item number 7. This is a similar item or agenda item for consideration. The county attempted to sell this parcel of land previously. You have a depiction, I believe, that shows at the intersection of Blacks Creek Church Road and Jotham Down. It may be reflected as two small parcels, but they're in the corner of those two roads. Total land is about 2.5 acres. We put this out for a sealed bid, and we established a minimum bid last time of $20,000 for these two parcels. After reevaluating, there's a mobile home on one and a house on the other parcel, and both of those are in disrepair and most likely will have to be demolished and removed. And with that consideration, I'm asking the board to consider lowering, putting it back out there for sealed bid, for sale, and this time establishing a minimum bid of $10,000, whereas last time it's consider selling county-owned property identified as map 10, parcel 49 on Bottom Down Road at a minimum, with an opening or a minimum bid of $10,000.
Is that property after you pass the church on Bottom Down Road and get to the corner?
Right at Haggard Crossing.
Is on the right?
Yes, sir.
Jeff Barrett's.
If you go by and the church is on the right, it's on the right.
Do you have this map here?
No, I didn't have that.
Pass that to them, and it's,
Thank you.
yeah, they're outlined in black, but it's the, intersection.
That's what I thought. Yeah, okay.
Okay.
I think
There
it's
are two
Jeff
separate
Barrett's
parcels.
I think it's Jeff Barrett's relative.
Two separate parcels that we combined for purposes of the sale.
Yeah.
So motion, that, right now I'm just asking for consideration to sell that piece of property for a minimum bid of $10,000 to receive a bid, of course.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion on that? Any further discussion on this?
There's no, I will say there's no value. The house is eaten up with powder post, beetles, and termites, so it's gonna have to be.
It is, and the roof is compromised. I believe there's mold in that house, so it will require an expense to remove it. So. Any other comment or discussion on that? If not, the vote then is to Commissioner Pepple.
Yes.
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 Yeah.
Okay. All right. On to item number 8, roads update. No?
We talked about ours, so.
Okay. Any urgent matters?
On, Mr. Chairman, on the road update, I had a call today. They've been doing some logging over on, Collins Brooks Road. I talked with Alan about it, and he said the road's in pretty good shape, but there's a lot of potholes in it, and they're complaining about having to dodge potholes. If we could get the motor grader to go through there.
All right, I got it. And unfortunately, with that weather, we're planning, trying to get these roads fixed, and of course, vehicles on them after they've been graded has not helped us any at all. We will definitely get out there and take a look at that. Any other road? Or any urgent matters? All right, statements and remarks from citizens on any item at this time.
Good evening. My name is Charlie Snyder, 1220 Kingston Circle. And I wanted to address the board, because there was been some statements made, some things that are said, and I want to be on the record and be clear where I stand. Recently, Chairman Scarborough decided that he felt it was needed that he go to social media to either degrade, humiliate, belittle me about what the board has done, about the budget, about taxes. I guess he felt that that was what he needed to do. I refuse to do that. I believe it serves no purpose and it just divides us. I do not hide behind a group. I have been open to any of the issues that deal with this county. And I'm also not going to come in here in every board meeting and speak. I find that to be totally unproductive. There's a lot of things in here that need to be addressed at your all's level, not to the taxpayers. I get that. So I don't think I should be up here every board meeting saying something about what the board is doing. Now, when I feel like there's something that needs to be said that's dealing with taxes or dealing with the taxpayers of this county that I think is unjust, I'm going to say something. I think that's what we're here for. I don't think anybody should take anything personal. If you're that thin-skinned, don't run for politics. Mr. Chairman, you have every opportunity to stop me at any time after one of these commissioners' meetings and ask me out back what our issues were, where we stand on them, or what beef do we have with the board. You chose not to do that. You walked away. Now, you may already know what they are and you don't want to talk about them. That's fine. But at one of these commissioners' meetings right after, one of the board members stopped me and asked me, can we talk? And we did. We had a nice conversation. Now, I'm sure he probably didn't agree with everything of what we were saying or what our positions were. And I'm sure I didn't agree with everything he said. But the part is, we had dialogue, and that's how things get resolved. You have to talk about them, find middle ground. There's one other thing I want to address and I want to be clear on, is that Commissioner Scarborough has no idea what my law enforcement career consisted of. None. And if you're talking to people, that's fine. You can talk and ask anybody. They know me. I've been around. My name's been in the paper. I've been on 2, 5, and 11 and all the news networks during my career. But I will say this. The chairman has no idea what it's like to look down the barrel of a gun when it's pointed at you. You don't know what it's like to have a knife go across your chest when you're in a fight for your life in the middle of the street. Now, we just celebrate Thanksgiving with our family and our friends and family, and we're going to do, next month, we're going to do the same thing with Christmas. But there's going to be one group of men and women who are not going to be able to do that, because they're going to be riding around in patrol cars, patrolling our county, making sure our businesses are not broken into and our homes are safe so that we can enjoy the holidays. And these men are going to be getting, men and women, are going to be getting calls for service in this county. And when they get those calls to go to service, they don't ask them if they're rich or poor, Republican or Democrat, or black and white. They just go. That's what we do. We just go to the call. And a lot of times when we go to those calls, it ain't nothing what the call came in to be. And unfortunately, at times, things go bad real quick. And one of us is going to pay the ultimate price. Now, I thought John Scarborough, the chairman of this board, represents all taxpayers. With that being in mind, one of the finest young men that I know of that came out of this county was in the form of Buddy Christian. I had the privilege of training that young man for 3 or 4 days while his PTO was out. And I'm going to tell you something, they don't come no better than that man right there. And I was working the day that that happened. I was the one that started that whole thing. When the gentleman jumped out of the back of a trunk of a car, not knowing that Jamie Hood is sitting right there behind us, with his brother driving that SUV, and the rest is history, as we know it. Chairman, I don't know, you gonna go ask Buddy Christian's widow that he was nothing but a security guard? We have a deputy sitting right here today to make sure that we're able to sit here and discuss the issues of this county peacefully. You gonna go tell him he's a security guard? Let me tell you, he's not a security guard. By far, he's not one. That man's a police officer, and I want him to know I got his back, whether we're sitting in this room, we're out there in the middle of the street fighting, or we're in a ditch. I've got his back. For you people on this board, you should be embarrassed and appalled that that chairman made such a comment about law enforcement officers.
You almost through?
Almost.
Yeah, I've given you more time than I should.
That's okay. You run on social media and said I don't speak, so you know I'm here to speak, Chairman. So I'll just say this, is that, I hope, Mr. Chairman, that when you see another officer, you tell him that, you know what, I made an unfortunate comment, and I apologize that you're not a security guard, and I hope the taxpayers of this county realize what we have, that we have a chairman of this board that's gonna make such comments that police officers are nothing but security guards. Thank you.
You have about the military Thanksgiving too. Anybody else like to speak tonight? No. Any need for executive session?
No, sir.
All right, all I need is a motion.
Motion adjourned.
Have a motion?
Second.
Second, by Commissioner Eastwood.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
All right, we're adjourned.